Crime can be stranger than fiction. Get ready for a wild ride through these shocking cases with major twists that no one saw coming. DNA testing has been a major part of criminal investigations in recent times. But have you ever wondered what the first case was that introduced DNA profiling? It all started when 15-year-old Lynda Mann was strangled in 1983 in the British village of Narborough, Leicestershire, where crime is a rare event. The peace of the town was shattered, and residents were terrified. Male DNA was found on Lynda's body during an autopsy, but there were no leads other than the fact that the man had type A blood. Then, in 1986, 15-year-old Dawn Ashworth was also strangled in Narborough. The murders had similarities, and DNA found on the body showed that Dawn's killer had the same type of blood. All leads and investigation pointed towards a young man named Richard Buckland, who was suspected to be seen around the area during the time Dawn was slain. Buckland gave a detailed confession and provided many details about his crime. When everyone was convinced that Richard Buckland was behind Dawn's murder, and probably Lynda's as well, the investigation tried to further strengthen the case by trying out a new technology called DNA testing. This was the first time DNA testing was being used in the analysis of a criminal case. And surprisingly, the test provided a twist. Richard became the first person proven innocent by DNA profiling. The investigators were back on the case, and in 1987, they initiated an unprecedented DNA dragnet of over 3,000 local men. Still, no match emerged for over 6 months. Then, in September 1987, the police received a call from a woman who claimed that she had heard a concerning conversation in a pub between a group of young men. A man by the name of Ian Kelly was heard claiming that he had taken the blood test on behalf of his friend Colin Pitchfork. When investigated by officers, Ian denied the claims. Still, he later admitted that Pitchfork convinced him to take the test on his behalf, as he was afraid the police would assume him to be responsible for the crimes because of his history of flashing women and being a womanizer. When police went to Pitchfork's house later that day, he didn't deny any claims and accepted that he was finally caught. He later explained that in both the cases of Lynda and Dawn, he had only planned to flash them, but when he realized they would recognize him later, he ended up taking their lives. Even though he knew what he was doing, he was unable to stop. He also stated that he tried to take Ian's life many times so that he may never reveal the truth to anyone, but none of his plans worked. In January 1988, Colin Pitchfork went on trial, and much to the astonishment of police, he was not recommended for a minimum term by the judge, meaning that he could be released in 10 or 12 years. Pitchfork was released in 2021, but recalled when he was seen again inappropriately approaching women. Sometimes DNA testing can also unexpectedly help catch a criminal in a case with no leads or witnesses. 22-year-old Julie Buskin was a promising ballet dancer in Oklahoma City. In 1996, one December night, after hanging out with friends, Julie went to drop her roommate off at the airport at 4:30 a.m. At around 5:30 a.m., residents of Julie's apartment complex heard a woman scream in terror. Julie was later found shot execution style with a .22 caliber gun by a lake 15 miles away. Investigators found Julie's leotard by the lake with male DNA on it. Her cell phone records revealed that a call was made moments after she passed away to a number that was not in service. A month after the murder, a witness came forward claiming he almost collided with Julie's car near the lake that night. He followed the car and saw a glimpse of the driver. He provided the details of the driver and a sketch was made. But no one recognized the young man in the sketch, and the case went cold. Almost 5 years later, a letter from a female inmate led police to suspect her ex, a young man named Dennis Sturmer, who lived a few blocks from Julie's residence and had a resemblance with the sketch. But Sturmer's DNA did not match with the DNA collected from the crime scene. A year later, a man named Anthony Castillo Sanchez, who lived a mile from Julie, was arrested for assaulting his girlfriend. The police went on to collect his DNA sample. Anthony's DNA was tested, and out of the blue, it matched the DNA taken from the crime scene. Upon further investigation, it was found that he possessed the same .22 caliber gun that was used to shoot Julie. The number dialed from Julie's cell phone after she was shot was one digit off from the number of one of his exes, leading to a possibility that he tried to dial the number from his memory. In 2004, Anthony Sanchez went on trial and was proven guilty. Although he constantly claimed throughout the years that the crime was committed by his father, Glenn Sanchez. Apparently, Glenn took his own life in 2022 and confessed to his girlfriend that he was responsible for this crime. The police had already looked at the possibility of this claim, but the DNA testing proved otherwise. Anthony Sanchez was executed on September 21, 2023 by lethal injection in Oklahoma.